Well, good morning. It's Saturday morning. My schedule was I was going to put out a video every Saturday. It's the Saturday after Thanksgiving. I hope you all had a very blessed and happy Thanksgiving. We certainly did here. We had our grandkids and our kids over and lots of food and just a good time. All the cousins get to see each other. And I don't know, these are family memories that were always warm in my heart. And I'm just blessed to be able to host it here at my house and bring the family together and keep those family ties really strong. I worked most of this weekend instead of like coming up with content for the video. I did a lot of research on YouTube, plus I've been doing a lot of recording my theme song, which I talked about earlier. It's called Life Has Just Begun, and it's a song that I did write about 20 years ago, and I actually recorded it, a version of it back then. But things have evolved musically for me, and I wanted to do a new version of it. So I worked on that this weekend. I got it all recorded. I'm working on editing a lot of the footage right now for that. It takes a while to do all of this stuff, this YouTube stuff I'm learning. There's so much to learn. One of the things I got this week, they said that it's better to, like when I'm talking to you like this, to film it from a higher elevation rather than lower looking down. So I'm trying that. Please leave a comment what you think, if it's any better, or if it's better if I'm looking down. I don't know. Trying to get the lighting right too, that's a big thing, is try to learn lighting. But anyway, my content this week, when I did have an insight, personal insight, which maybe other people have had at one point in their lives, but it came, I'm getting old, I'm 60 years old, I'm still learning. I'm learning a lot about myself. I learn every day, I learn stuff. And I think, that's the secret to enjoying life, is you've got to constantly be learning and trying to work on your character defects, if that's what you want to call them. But one of the things I found out this week is it came to light that possibly I'm not that great of a listener. And then I got to thinking about that. What does that mean? I'm not a good listener. I don't listen to people. I don't just let them go. Well, it's because of my ego. It's so big. When people are telling me a story, or they're telling me, sharing an experience or a story with me, my ego is so big that sometimes I think, well, they just need my advice. And I do this with my kids too. I've done it with my kids. I've raised kids, and I made a lot of mistakes. But who hasn't? And that's how you learn, making mistakes. But I start to offer my advice to people. That's not what they're looking for. They just want a set of ears, man. They just want someone to listen. They're working through their own problem. They're going to come up with their own solution. They don't need my help or my advice. I'm just there as a sounding board. Because I believe that if you speak something, if you can speak it, you can get it to become reality, to become true. Also, when you speak your thoughts out loud, you hear them coming from your mouth. It gives them reality. I don't know how to explain that, but you've got to say it. Come out and say it. Just thinking it sometimes doesn't work, because you think it and then you shove it back somewhere, or you dismiss it in some way. It's very important. I think it's really important to orally express your thoughts, or write them down on paper. That's another thing. Makes things real. If you write it down, or at least you can examine it to see if it's real. That's another thing. Sometimes when you write things down and you read them back to yourself, you're like, this is silly. That's not even real. Why did I have this thought? So I'm not that great of a listener, apparently. And I'm going to try to learn to listen more. And so I've made a conscious effort to, when people are talking to me, to focus on what they're saying and just listen, and not to speak, until they actually ask me a question or say, okay, now it's your turn to speak. I have met people, though, that are inexhaustible. They will keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, and you can just keep nodding your head. I had an experience recently with a person where it was almost 2 hours of uninterrupted talking, and I was exhausted from listening. But you know, I got a lot of insight on that person and that person's life, and I felt closer to them because they shared a lot of stuff with me. So I mean, there was definitely a benefit to it. You know, it gets hard sometimes when there's a pause to inject something in there when people are still in the middle of their thought. So I'm trying to keep my mouth shut, not miss an opportunity to keep my mouth shut, is what they used to say. Never miss an opportunity to keep your mouth shut. Well, I'm not doing that on YouTube, obviously. You know, guard your tongue, I guess, is another thing that I try to do, because it doesn't come naturally for me. You know, some people have characteristics that come natural to them. For me, being a good listener doesn't come naturally, so I have to work at it. And I have to work at just about everything. I did want to share one thing with you this week. Is I do have another instrument to show you that I really like. As you know, I'm a musician, and I really enjoy. It's a passion for me to play music. This is an octave mandolin. It's a big one. It's got 8 strings. It's made by Trinity College is the name of the company. There's the, oops, take the tuner off, sorry. So there's the logo for the Trinity College, yes. And it's a beautiful, there's my pick, take that out of there. So it's a 8-stringed instrument. You see it's got 8 tuners up there, okay. And it's a very beautifully made wooden top. I don't know what kind of wood that is, probably some kind of spruce, I think, on the top. And then it's got, you know, beautiful wood size. I don't know if it's like mahogany maybe, I'm not sure what that is. And I got a pickup in there. I put a little lace, I had a little lace pickup put in there, so when we play gigs, we just, you know, we go play open mic nights or play gigs, I can plug it in and play it. It's a good sounding instrument. It sounds like it's in the middle. Guitar's a little lower and the mandolin's higher. It's kind of in the middle register, but you can accompany yourself with it. And well, they blew up Chicken Man in Philly last night. They blew up his house too. Well, anyway, so you can get the idea. A blackbird singing in the dead of night. Spread your broken wings and learn to fly. I mean, so on, so on. So you can play it like a guitar. It's got that middle register. A lot of the Irish guys that play the Irish music, Celtic music, they tune the D or the E string. This is it goes backwards from a guitar. It's E, A, D, and G. And they tune this E down to a drop D, this top one right here. They tune that down to a D, and it makes a D modal chord, kind of an open modal chord. They use that for accompanying in the Irish music. You know, they're doing like a D. They'll play chords on it, but I'm not playing the modal part of it with it. I didn't drop the D, so anyway, I've done it before. I've done, actually, in the song Portland in a Day, which I play this in the beginning, the D. And I do drop that D down there, here in the E ring there now, but sometimes I have the D drop down. Yes, this is a wonderful instrument. I love playing it. We do some songs with it in the senior discounts, and it's just another instrument that I like to share with you. You have to learn things a little differently when you play those. When you play them, you have to learn the instrument backwards, and same thing with a ukulele. But if you play guitar, you can kind of figure things out. The chords are real easy to figure out. I just love it. I love sharing these kind of things with you. Maybe certain weeks I'll review different instruments to show you what they look like and what they sound like. Not a very good demonstration on that one today, as far as that's it for this week. I also had a lot of learning on YouTube, things about posting. So short and sweet this week. Thanks for tuning in. I promise I'm making this video about how my recording process of the music and how life has just begun, and then I'll play the whole video for you maybe next week. So it's going to take a while to do the editing. That's one thing I learned about YouTube. A lot of editing, and a lot of it just takes hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Over the top. Anyway, takes a lot of time. Plus I'm running a paint business. But it's a slow time of the year, thank God, and it's over the holidays. So I'm getting these things up and running. I'm learning. I hope you'll continue on the journey with me as I learn and create better and more content. I think I'm going to have a lot more to show you as time goes on. I'm learning these things. I'm very hungry, going out and finding new things to do, and always creating, just enjoying life. I hope you are too. Have a great week.